rash, okay?
To you too, dear.
The least you could have done was to update me that you finally decided to discharge yourself so that I wouldn't have to come here and waste my time.
I just wanted to catch Yoke before she left for the office.
Sir, Ma'am Yoke went to the airport.
Did you tell her I was coming home?
Yes, sir.
Great. I suppose she wanted to escape my nagging. What was her excuse?
She said she's going to Manila to get another gown. She says she wants to get a spare one for the ceremony, just in case.
Then get the rest of my stuff. What's the point of having so many gowns when she's still got no groom?
This program is available on demand for free on MeWatch. Brought to you by Mitsubishi Electric StarMix Air Conditioner.
Tonight on 5.
Good evening, I'm Otelli Edwards, and here are your top stories on News 5. More than $16 billion has been paid out to help Singaporeans through the COVID-19 pandemic. The economic impact of COVID-19 may get worse. That warning from the Social and Family Development Minister.
Going e-commerce is no longer a luxury but a necessity.
An initiative to help heartland shops go online. And temporary legal relief extended to some property buyers whose earnings have been hit by the pandemic. And 75 new COVID-19 cases have been reported today as the total infections in Singapore exceed 25,000. Well, the Health Ministry says majority of the new cases continue to be migrant workers staying in dormitories. 2 are Singaporeans or permanent residents. 21 people have died. Now, property buyers whose incomes have been hit by the COVID-19 pandemic will now get more protection if they can't pay up. Legal relief measures have been expanded to cover them, and experts say the measure is a timely move, but they warn that it isn't a free pass for buyers to back out of agreements.
Laws were passed last month to shield parties from legal action for 6 months if they couldn't fulfill contracts because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, those buying new homes will get the same starting from Wednesday. That's after options to purchase, or OTPs, and sale and purchase agreements, or SPAs, were included under these measures. It also means if buyers can't fork out the sums yet, developers won't be able to forfeit the buyer's booking fee or terminate the purchase agreement. The contracts must be entered into before 25th of March, with contractual performance due on or after 1st of February, and applies for new HDB flats and private homes.
If we look at the effects of the pandemic, it impacts across different income groups. It's very timely in the sense that because we always think that those that are high income, those that have purchased condominium apartments, they are usually more well off. But in this case, we do see a lot of businesses and business owners suffer because of the event happening.
Experts say it's not easy to tell exactly how many people will take this up, but they add it's unlikely the relief measures will be abused.
It's not a free pass, if you would like, for the buyer to terminate or get out of the purchase commitment. It has to be limited to a unique financial hardship situation, newfound financial hardship situation.
One developer, Evia, says it's only had fewer than 5 buyers approach it for an extension so far, while fewer than 10 have asked for a late payment interest waiver. Still, analysts say developers probably won't face too much of a strain, even if more people apply for deferments.
To the extent that there would be a delay in payment, so that will affect their cash flow, so to speak. In any case, a lot of things are being delayed. So at their end, construction, their contractors' obligations to them is also being delayed. So some elements of that gets negated.
In the meantime, the Real Estate Developers Association says it supports the government's latest move. It also assured that developers will work out amiable arrangements with their buyers, depending on the merit of each case.
More than $16 billion worth of COVID-19 support has been given out to Singaporeans and local firms since March. Second Minister for Finance, Indrani Raja, says the move is unprecedented. Now, Ms. Indrani says $7 billion went to the Job Support Scheme. That's a wage subsidy scheme to help companies retain local workers. She said another $4 billion will be paid this month. Meanwhile, over $2.5 billion was disbursed through various tax rebates to aid cash flow for companies and the self-employed. Another $2 billion was distributed to help households cope with daily expenses, and this includes the $600 solidarity payment. About 450,000 people also received immediate help via the $200 million temporary relief fund. Meantime, 100,000 self-employed persons will get support from the first allocation of income relief worth some $300 million this month. Ms. Indrani says more support can be expected throughout the year and that the government will reassess if more help is needed.
There will be further tranches of existing budgeted measures that will be rolled out in the course of the year. We have to look at what the scenario will be like as we come out of the circuit breaker to consider what, if any, further support is needed and also what kind of support is needed. Because the JSS continues, right? Although under the current budget, that is a staged amount beyond the circuit breaker.
At least 3,000 vulnerable Indian households will be getting more cash to help them tide over the COVID-19 pandemic. Now that's with a $1.8 million community support package by the Singapore Indian Development Association, or SINDA. Now this is on top of a $2 million sum it had earmarked for community assistance in 2020. Under the package, some families will get a one-off $300 cash sum. As for those facing deeper challenges, they will get 3 payouts, each between $300 and $600. Now, more families will also get interim financial assistance, which will help cover urgent essential expenses. On top of that, student bursaries will be raised by $50. SINDA President Indrani Raja said the move will complement the broad-based support provided by government schemes and assured affected families that the community would be there for them. More social workers could be brought on board to help workers and their families with the COVID-19 pandemic set to worsen the employment situation. Social and Family Development Minister Desmond Lee said this in an exclusive interview with CNA. This comes as 20,000 applications have been filed for a grant meant to help those who have lost their jobs or had a pay cut less than 2 weeks since it was launched.
MOM is keeping an active eye for companies that are taking wage measures, whether it's wage cuts, no pay leave, or retrenching staff. They will notify MOM, and MOM keeps on top of the employment figures. How the employment and unemployment situation will be like in the months going forward, we think it will get worse.
So more workers and their families might need assistance such as financial or even psychological support in the months to come. And all this must be putting an enormous strain on the social workers and counselors. Is MSF ramping up recruitment to handle the increasing workload then?
We certainly do need more people to join us in the social sector. In fact, the number of social workers in our family service centers has increased year on year. And we're looking to bring in more people during a crisis like this. We need to make sure that our family service centers and our social service agencies have the manpower that they need, as well as tools like digital tools to enable them to do their work more effectively and efficiently.
So what are some of the challenges social workers have seen so far? For instance, are we seeing more domestic issues as more people stay home?
Yes. Our adult and child protection services has seen a 15% increase in the number of calls relating to family and domestic violence. You see an increase in caregiver stress. You see in families where relationships have been tense, and when the family members have had to stay together at home for longer periods of time, that's where tensions may flare, and in some cases may spill over into threats or into actual family violence. We're working very closely with our social services and with the community, also with law enforcement agencies to keep a close eye on family violence.
And still ahead on News 5, another setback for Dr. Mahathir's no confidence move against the Malaysian PM. And Singapore sets wheels in motion to conduct COVID-19 swab tests more efficiently.
My Mitsubishi Electric StarMax aircon saves me energy and money. It's easy to clean and is so quiet.
Sit-ups have you done? How many cupcakes have you baked? Or are you simply bored stiff? You're not alone. 4 personalities are staying home with you right now. Confined to their homes for a week, they're competing for prizes and live streaming all the action. Join the fun on the MeWatch YouTube channel and stand a chance to win cool viewers' prizes. The Quarantine. Live on MeWatch YouTube channel, or catch the best highlights anytime on MeWatch. Daily episodes from now until 19th May. Lights Camera Singapore takes you back in time to relive the good old days. Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. All Places shows us the forgotten yet familiar areas in Singapore. Then at 10 p.m. from director Jack Neo, the movie Long Long Time Ago depicts the life of Cao Di. Lights Camera Singapore, Tuesday from 9:30 p.m. on 5. Available on demand for free on MeWatch.
Painful, inflamed sore throat? Reach for Difflam lozenges. They relieve the pain and swelling and help fight throat infection. Don't let a sore throat spoil your day. Reach for Difflam anti-inflammatory antibacterial lozenges.
As Singapore battles COVID-19, there are those who work tirelessly and quietly go the extra mile. From the hawker who pledged free meals to the elderly, to the cleaners keeping our estates clean. These are our invisible heroes. Share your invisible hero with us. Let us know why we should appreciate them more. Visit sginvisibleheroes.com. Let's celebrate our heroes doing their part to keep Singapore going.
Welcome back to News 5. More than 2,000 merchants, including mom-and-pop shops in the heartlands, could soon be running their own virtual stores using just their mobile phones. Well, it's all part of a collaboration between Nanyang Polytechnic, NETS, and fintech firm Scash to help merchants reach out to more shoppers online.
Mr. Yeo Hyang Ming's jewelry business has been running since the 1970s. Despite having a steady flow of customers over the years, he knew that it wouldn't be enough if he wanted to keep his doors open in the long term, as consumer habits are changing in this digital era. So he decided to keep with the times by taking his shop online. This has proved to be pivotal, especially during the circuit breaker period.
Especially after COVID-19, we see that a lot of so-called people are actually going online. So I think this trend is something that is going to be sustained and even getting more in future. So actually it's something that is very important.
As traditional neighborhood shops take a massive hit during the circuit breaker period, going online could prove vital. The new ground-up initiative by Nanyang Polytechnic's Singapore Institute of Retail Studies in partnership with Scash and Net's mobile commerce solution aims to help small and medium enterprises do just that. The group says the virtual store can help shop owners reach out to more customers online. They can also engage customers by offering incentives like loyalty reward points or discount vouchers. To help businesses during COVID-19, Nets says it will remove service fees upon sign-up, while Scash will waive its monthly service fee until end 2020. NYP says will further support this initiative by providing a one-day workshop to help train merchants. Senior Minister of State for Trade and Industry Chee Hong Tat says businesses must take advantage of technology and digitalization amid COVID-19.
Now, we know technology is not everything, but not knowing how to use technology will be a great handicap. And this has always been an important enabler to transform our economy. COVID-19 has now added one more priority for us, very urgent priority for us, which is how to use technology to enable businesses to continue to operate safely, while at the same time being able to earn revenue so that you can continue to serve your customers and remain commercially viable.
Some experts say that going online is the way forward in the long run, although the transition may not be easy.
Some of the challenges may include not having the right devices, right? Obviously, it is more optimal to use a laptop so that they can toggle around, right? The app as well as the learning deck. So some of them use handphone, so we have to work around the usage of devices.
NYP says is using online channels like webinars to engage SMEs to climb on board its new initiative. It says it will work with its partners to reach out to more merchants once the circuit breaker measures are lifted.
In other news, Malaysian Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin will not face a confidence vote on Monday. Parliament will be convening for a one-day sitting, but the government says the battle against the coronavirus will take priority. Well, the Speaker of Parliament says only one order of business has been listed, and that's the opening address by the King, as the COVID-19 pandemic has not been fully cleared. Just last week, the Speaker approved a motion seeking a vote of no confidence brought by former Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. Parliament will meet for the first time on Monday since Muhyiddin Yassin replaced Dr. Mahathir as the Prime Minister after a power struggle. South Korea will not reinstate strict social distancing rules despite a growing coronavirus outbreak. 120 people are now linked to a nightclub cluster in Seoul. Authorities warn that secondary transmission is also on the rise. Well, the cluster was sparked by a 29-year-old male who visited 5 bars and clubs early this month. Officials are still trying to locate about 700 people who had visited night spots which are popular with the gay community. But the number of people tested has surged 8 times since the promise of anonymity, taking the total tested so far to about 22,000. China has placed the northeastern city of Jilin under a partial lockdown following the emergence of a local cluster. 6 new cases have been detected in the city near the North Korean border, and they are linked to a local cluster in Shulan. Authorities have suspended bus services and shut some borders, and residents who want to leave Jilin city will need to test negative for COVID-19 in the past 48 hours. IMDA is investigating an internet outage on M1's fiber network yesterday. It says it will take strong enforcement action if lapses are found. The disruption started around 5 a.m. yesterday, but some subscribers are still unable to connect to the internet, even though M1 said services have been fully restored this morning. Now, this is the second internet outage during the circuit breaker after StarHub's network was affected earlier last month. Now, to boost efforts to test all migrant workers for COVID-19, the Singapore Armed Forces has rolled out a new mobile swab station. The vehicle, which is described as more efficient than existing setups, has been making its rounds at non-purpose-built dormitories since the start of the week.
Modified from a SAF ambulance, it now takes just 15 minutes to set up and tear down compared to the usual 30. The swab protection screen means there's zero contact and the station requires just one healthcare personnel. It was developed by the Defence Science and Technology Agency, the Army and ST Engineering. And the cabin is pressurized to reduce the risk of droplets and aerosols entering.
My team does feel safer operating out of a clean environment. This is made possible by the ventilation filtration system, which essentially transforms the cabin into a giant N95 mask. By adopting a no-touch technique, all personnel apart from the swabber do not need to be medical personnel. This streamlines the current process by a great deal and reduces manpower medical requirements across the board.
2 more prototypes are being developed. One, a multi-utility vehicle with 1 swab station, and another, a 20-foot container with 3.
So all the MUVs, they have their purpose of being very mobile. For the containers, we are able to we use it for a different situation whereby perhaps something that's a little bit, it's still mobile, but perhaps something that has a slightly longer deployment time, and then we can actually create perhaps more booths to make it more efficient as a system.
A registration app has also been developed that reduces the process to just 1 minute from 4. Workers' details are scanned, which then goes into a database and labels are printed. To make it safer, there are plans to bring the registration process into the cabin so there's less personnel out in the open.
And coming up next on News 5, you will travel after COVID-19, but it won't be the same. Big changes are on the horizon.
Weather report brought to you by Mitsubishi Electric.
Get someone to read the last paragraph?
Me!
Victor, let's give someone else a chance today, shall we? There is going to be a skit performance, and we need a narrator. Who would like to do it?
Good morning.
Victor, would you like to introduce the story? So who can give me an example? Breathe in, and then I want you to breathe out through your mouth. Okay, so let's go again. 1. Okay, go something like Big Bad Wolf.
The big bad wolf. All the better to eat you up. A woodsman was walking past by Grandma's house. He saw the big bad wolf asleep.
Sunday Classic Movies on 5 presents
She can't do anything a wild lion must do to survive. What's wrong with us two anyway?
She has the right to live free. Now I love the guy, he loves me. I want to be with him. It's that simple. You asked yourself if it's right for Nick.
Don't bring around a cloud to rain on my parade.
Joe, you're going to be real proud of me.
I'm leaving you.
Was this some kind of joke? White dream.
So I won't have to fight.
Stay home with all these classic movies on 5 and Me Watch.
Hello there, welcome back to News 5. The Social and Family Development Ministry is thinking of swabbing residents and staff at temporary shelters for the homeless, or what's called safe sound sleeping places. The ministry has already completed COVID-19 tests for about 4,600 staff and elderly residents at premises like welfare homes.
We're also now working out arrangements such as whether testing or swabbing will be beneficial. We're discussing with them the arrangements because there are a number of S3Ps, some are small, some are slightly larger, and the nature of the guests are such that they're transient and they come in and out every day.
Well, the POFMA office has issued correction directions to Tam Ping Jin and New Narrative, a website that he co-founded. The directions are over a YouTube video that made several false claims and misleading statements. In the video, Mr. Tam questioned the government's real reason for POFMA. He claimed that under the Act, even if one bit is found to be wrong or misleading, the whole statement can be considered false. In response, the government website factually posted several clarifications, one of which is that an entire statement will not be automatically considered false just because part of it is false. The video will remain accessible to the public, but a correction notice must be placed with it for people to make their own conclusions. Mr. Tam is a historian who has often criticized various government policies and actions in his online video series, The Show with PJ Tam. Well, get ready for a new normal when global air travel restarts after the pandemic. Travelers may have to follow more stringent protocols as industry bodies come up with a plan to reassure passengers that it's safe to fly.
Temperature screenings and preventing those with symptoms from flying. These could become a norm post-COVID-19 until a vaccine or instant virus test exists. The International Air Transport Association says it is still discussing such details with governments and industry. However, an aviation expert says airlines may also offer different options as a form of psychological reassurance to drive demand.
Some of them are offering some of the passengers to buy out a seat next to them. So if we look at some of the budget carriers, AirAsia, for example, they are equipping the crew members with protective equipment. Now, can passengers do the same if they have the concern? If they do that, it's probably cheaper than to buy out the seat next to them to be empty, right? So there are different combinations that airlines can try out.
IATA says it doesn't think safe distancing on planes is needed, as limited evidence so far shows a low chance of transmission on board. Instead, airlines should limit people moving on board and offer simpler meal services to reduce interaction. Masks will also offer protection. Professor Fan says recent examples of crowded flights after measures were eased in the US and Europe show there's still eagerness to travel. Airlines will also play their part.
We can look back at some of the major airline accidents, for example, the airplane accidents, and what we have seen is that typically after those accidents, airlines will wait for a few months, maybe 3-4 months, before they then launch some really deep price discounts. And when they do that, typically when the price is right, people are gradually willing to take the risk and then fly again.
Professor Fan says travel restrictions such as 14-day quarantine measures will also have to be lifted before people feel it's convenient to travel again.
And finally, how would you like to work from home, like forever? Anyway, that's become a reality for employees of one firm. Twitter is the first social media giant to allow workers to do just that. The company says its experience over the past few months shows that remote working has been a success, and now it's giving staff the option to keep working from home even after the pandemic ends, as long as their role enables them to do so. The new policy comes as businesses are rethinking how they will operate in a post-pandemic world. Meantime, Facebook and Google have allowed most employees to work remotely until the end of the year. And now, since you're at home, you might as well start your weekdays with a CNA 938 World Report every morning at 6. It's a complete wrap of news and business from all around the globe. Plus, there's all your Singapore news and traffic, all on our news talk radio show CNA 938. And that's News 5. Thanks for watching. Good night.
This program is available on demand for free on MeWatch.
The COVID-19 crisis has hit many Singaporeans hard, so we've enhanced the COVID-19 support grant to help more people. If you're a local employee who's financially impacted in these ways, you can receive support of up to $800 or to $500 a month for 3 months. We will offer you assistance with employment and training. You can apply online from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. Email us or call us if you need help with your application. Alternatively, you can approach our social service officers for assistance. Those of you who are receiving Comcare do not need to apply, as our social service officers will be in touch with you to ensure that your needs are met. This is a difficult time for many Singaporeans, but we will support you and your families through this crisis. We will get through this together. Stay safe.
Tonight on 5.
Parental guidance is advised for the following program.